So that's why Mowbray should have brought Pritchard in.
He probably should. Welcome along, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Anth the Mackem. The Mackem Football Show is here for another week. Today, you can see, I'm joined by David the Doofus and Paul Wilson. Hello, boys. Welcome along.
Hello.
Hello. Paul, hello. Your mic working? Please say it's working.
Should be.
Yay! Hello, mate. Oh, it's never a dull time to support Sunderland, is it?
No.
No. What's happened since? What's happened since we've last did the podcast? Well, we've played two teams. The last podcast we heavily discussed the sacking, and it was a sacking of Tony Mowbray. So we've been there. We've done that in the conversation. We had a brief conversation around who we'd like to have in place. There is a poll on my channel with Michael Beale being almost announced as the new replacement for Tony Mowbray, but in that interim we will have 3 games under Dodds, and he's already won 2 of them. So we'll talk about those 2 wins under Dodds, what he does differently, or what he has done differently over Tony Mowbray over the last couple of weeks. And what? Sing it again. Tony Mowbray.
Not anymore.
You can still do it, mate, but I don't think Do the Michael Beale has the same ring to it, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Not at all.
The Michael Beale.
Evening, Cammy. Welcome along, buddy. Yeah, we'll talk about the West Brom game first. As you may or may not recall, this was pretty much this time last week, Saturday, a 2-1 win at the Stadium of Light. We got robbed in the first half from Joe Bellingham's goal, which was never offside. So, match officiating, the officials, just all of the VAR talk came up again. It always will when the option's there and these decisions are just so egregiously, horrendously wrong. We'll have that conversation. But ultimately, that offside goal that never was an offside didn't impact the end result. Sunderland deservedly win that game. I'll go over the quick goals. First one, brilliant free kick into the box. Ballard's on the header of it. Absolute bullet of a header. You just keep doing that, Ballard, mate. Your class at it. And Pritchard, by the way, he was outstanding in that game. And the second goal came from Pritchard counter-attacking, seeing Dan nearly on space in the right-hand side, keepers on rushing, and he dinks it over him for the second to go 2-0 up. 2 minutes after the start, West Brom take a goal back, and the game settled from that point. So, thoughts and feelings around that game, Paul?
Oh.
He was expecting to go to me first, I think.
Yeah, I usually ramble a lot longer than that, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
So I've got videos on this channel, by the way, of my thoughts and feelings behind these games, which is why I want to get you more involved. What did you think?
Well, straight away, our first one, was that offside? No. I don't know why the referee, because where I was in the ground southwest corner, I said to Bowers, because we thought at first it was offside,
right?
And then I actually asked somebody in front of me. They turned around, they went, Darren, I forgot the referee, but they said the referee's done a mistake, and I actually looked back at half time. And I said to Bowers, look at the footage Sky's actually put out.
Yeah.
And Bellingham's actually first goal. That should have stood.
Yeah. Do you know what that peeves me off the most about that? It's that the lino couldn't see the Sunderland player and gives the defender the benefit of the doubt. I don't understand that. If you can't see the player, that's because the defender's blocking that line of sight. Therefore, he's not offside. You should, if you're in line or in front of the defender, the lino should 100% see you. That's just how physics works. Like, I don't get how stupid a lino can be. I can't see him, therefore he's offside. What a moron. Sorry, yeah. Keep cracking on, mate.
But before we started, though, and it's just, you know, like I said to you, you know, it's just odd because since Dodds came, take temporary charge. Fair enough, he's sitting the game tomorrow. Since he's brought Pritchard in, we've actually won back-to-back wins.
Yeah, I mean, Dodds did a masterclass, I think, a little bit about against West Brom, and to be fair, against Leeds, we adapted our style to play West Brom. Did we adapt it that much though? Because we kind of went for a 4-1-4-1 against West Brom, and that for me obviously didn't change much about how we currently set up. We didn't have a named striker on the pitch for the majority of the game. It was it felt like a continuation of what Tony Mowbray did, but when substitutes needed to be made, he made them, and that's how I think we won that second half. Pritchard, outstanding performance as soon as he started kicking the ball. Yep. No.
Yeah, I've got to agree, mate.
What do you think of the 2 goals that we scored and then the one we conceded?
2 goals. I was actually happy that, fair enough, Dan Bollard could have been sent off.
Mm-hmm. But so could the West Brom player for elbowing Pritchard in the face. So.
Well, he elbowed. Yeah. I'm pleased Dan Bollard actually scored. And Dan Neil, what a goal from him to actually chip the goalkeeper. Because the goalkeeper actually came out his box, and where I was, all we were like, go on Daniel. And we were absolutely over the moon when he scored. But
it's just one of those cheeky ones. Did it remind you of the Papa John's final?
Yeah, it did actually.
It was a carbon copy, just to the camera angles the other way around. Cool. Cabby says if Ian Beale comes to Ian Beale, I'd rather have Ian Beale. If Michael Beale becomes the coach, he'd stop eating vinegar sandwiches. He's never eaten them ever again. I mean, your stomach will thank you for it. So Ian Beale is now going to be announced as Sunderland manager. David, what did you think of the West Brom game? Because I think you've just caught yourself up before we went live of the game itself. So
yeah, I think pretty good from Sunderland. I think again, it's unfortunate that you had a goal robbed from you. Again, I don't know what the lino was doing. Clearly, he was about a foot and a half onside. Not quite sure how he's got that call so wrong. Shit happens, I guess, but yeah, it sucks regardless.
Yeah.
The first goal was brilliant. I think the Pritchard cross-in was very nice. The finish was just as good. The second goal was also beautiful. Definitely want to see more of both in the future. And yeah, I think overall just really good game. Really happy with how they played, and yeah, looking good.
Fantastic. It's 3 points on the board for Sunderland, even though if we're facing it against West Brom, who are, I think we're at that time in 6th place. Have we leapfrogged them? Where are they in the table now? Are they above us or in? I don't know where they are. West Brom are still above us, but we've climbed into their spot. That's 6th. The Leeds game, it's the polar opposite of what happened in West Brom. In West Brom, I think we were the dominant team. We controlled it for the most part. In Leeds, they clearly had a lot of Premier League quality and confidence going into it still. They're in 3rd place. They have everything to lose. And I think Dodds in this game defensively was unreal. It's the first clean sheet win in a very long time for Sunderland. We usually like win 3-1, 2-1. Like it's rare we win without without Pato having to pull the ball out the back of the net. So I'm chuffed that defensively we are capable of doing it, especially with the likes of 09 having risque moments throughout this season. Was it in that Leeds game where he got his 7th yellow card of the season, which is a yellow card 1 in 3 games, right?
I can have a look for you. I'm not entirely sure.
I think it's around that, but it's still pretty poor discipline, right?
What player are you on about?
Luke 09.
Luke 09. No, he didn't get a yellow that game.
How many yellows has he got?
How many has he got?
Right.
How do I find that out? Hang on.
So ultimately, the end result of that game was Sunderland winning with a 1-goal advantage. Joe Bellingham connecting onto, that's right, Pritchard's header, a header under a header. So I kind of feel like it's a volleyball game, but the on-rushing keeper, I have no idea what he's trying to claim for after that. He basically punches Bellingham in the face. He clatters him, as Bellingham says in the post-match, and he still gets it in the back of the net. And to be fair, on the counter, we looked very dangerous. We allowed Leeds to play their style and defended against them solidly. And that hasn't been a feature of our squad this season. Now, again, that was another for your improvement. Go on. What's the answer for Luke 09?
So he currently has 7 yellow cards.
Yes, 1 in 3, yeah.
He picked up his last one during the Leeds game.
That was it, yeah.
And he didn't get his last one from Plymouth. So he actually went 3 games in a row without.
Wow. He could be, if he's not careful, at this rate, he could be banned with his 10th yellow card by the Newcastle game, the FA Cup game on January 6th. So he needs to wind his neck in a little bit. Although he had an absolutely class defensive performance, yellow card should be, I don't know, when we've got a weaker opponent in this league to come up against. So bear that in mind, Luke. Paul, what did you think of the Leeds game?
To be honest, I was actually over the moon with it. Because at the end of the game, because I started laughing at Bowers, because I said to Michael, Sunderland actually kept your favourite and like you know, because all the time I've been going to games with Bowers, he's like, Sunderland, we keep the clean sheet, we keep the clean sheet, we keep the clean sheet. And at the end of the game, I said to him, Sunderland have kept the clean sheet for you. He started laughing. But to be honest, I like the way Dodds actually set us up. Fair enough, Jensen Silt actually started, which I thought was the right decision. Which I would have started him actually against them anyway. I was actually over the moon with how we actually played against Leeds. I know Daniel Falk said apparently that it looked like we were, parking the bus against them.
Excuses, mate. I saw that. And to be fair, when we were doing the watch along, towards the end of the game, we did. When we took the lead, we defended. We sat the ball back and parked the bus. Essentially, we invited them on. They didn't like it. We defended perfectly. We've come up against teams that park the bus, and we moan about it. So the fact that when it's in reverse, the other team moan about us doing it, it's absolutely fine by me. It's about time we had a game where, on paper, we are the underdog, and we do the underdog tactic that wins. I don't care if this Leeds manager cries about it. Let him cry.
Then it's odd because Dodds actually had a plan for West Brom. It worked. He had a plan for Leeds. It worked. And actually, Dodds has got a plan for tomorrow's game as well.
We'll talk about tomorrow's game in a couple of seconds. I think there's a lot to do around changing it up against this Bristol City side, because they're not doing horribly in this league. Let's face it, they're doing okay, but they're nowhere near the Bristol City that we're used to seeing historically in this league. And it could be because obviously they got rid of their manager a couple of weeks ago. They have already got the replacement, but I mean, a team that's sat in 15th with more losses than wins at the halfway stage of the season, they should be, on paper, a more comfortable game than Leeds or West Brom, right? The teams that are up there. So Dodds, I think, will be prepared for it. But yeah, the Leeds game itself, I think defensively, like Jim says, Sealt had a great game. Nobody knew where he was going to play it. Did you see that Sky Sports put him as a striker?
Yeah, they did.
For context,
trying to tell you something.
Yeah, we're not who's your striker? You haven't got one. Let's play 6 at the back. Oh, maybe we did. And park the buses. Absolutely nothing wrong. We didn't park dear Daniel, we didn't park the effing bus. I mean, we did after we took the lead, and I'm okay with that. It's 15 minutes of parking the bus. We're defending our advantage. Who cares? It's not like who's a team that Cardiff for the entire 90 parked the bus and got us on one counter. That's a park the bus team. We're park the bus in the moment. I'm okay with Doddsy doing that tactic. Fine. Defensively though, if we're choosing defenders over strikers, and let's face it, Dan Ballard has got more goals than any strikers looked like getting so far this season. Maybe putting the likes of Job up front. He scored 2 goals, by the way, in the last 2 games. One of them was disallowed, but he's actually putting the ball in the back of the net. And he's younger than the 3 strikers that 4 strikers that we're saying they're too young and don't know what they're doing. So it's like age has got nothing to do with it, by the way. It's just determination in the box. He puts himself in the right place, Job does.
In a way, I think Dodds put him up front because Mike Dodds knows Bellingham, so
I mean, he should know all of his players because Dodds has been at the club for the entire time these have been here, right? So it's not like he hasn't been on the Academy of Light and seen them train week in, week out. That's not a thing that should be an issue. Yes, he does know Bellingham for a longer period of time because of the Birmingham City days, but it literally should not make that much of a difference. He sees all of these people every single week. Practice. Do you think that has that much of an impact then? The history with those 2?
It depends really, because the thing is, though. But I I was talking to Brad actually after the game, and it just looked like because as you know, Mowbray actually wasn't on the touchline that much.
I don't know. When I went to the Birmingham City game, he was out there a lot, and he looked ill. He looked proper ill towards the last couple of weeks. So maybe it's that.
To be honest with you, I've actually played with a team that Mike Dodds actually had with him, because fair enough, Mike Dodds was the one that took full control.
Mm-hmm.
But the likes of Proctor that's been helping him, he's been with the academy for a while, and fair enough, our goalkeeping coach was there, plus the under 23 manager as well. That was actually next to Carrillo Dreyfus actually during the game, if they need extra support.
I mean, I don't know, to be honest. It all boils down to how the lads play on the pitch in the 90. You've got to coach them. You've got to prepare them for each opponent that they've come up against. It does feel like Dodds has done that in his short time a lot better than Mowbray did towards the end. But you got to remember, Mowbray has done a really good job overall for Sunderland.
Yeah, but I was reading
Sorry, your mic did a weird thing there, mate.
yeah, so I was reading apparently Mowbray was
Mm-hmm.
fair enough. Mowbray took the games, but actually Dodds actually took the training on the training pitch.
For how long?
It was actually while Mowbray actually was here. Dodds actually took the training.
Yeah, but for how long? That's what I'm asking. So how long ago did that start happening? If it's been since day one, then it's basically Mowbray is the face of Dodds for the last 18 months, or however long he's been in place. So how long ago did that start happening?
That boy's been starting happening probably since when Mowbray came to us, because Dodds was still here.
So 18 months ago.
Yeah, yeah, it would have been.
No wonder he's got the backing of the squad then, because they've all been there and through it the entire thing the entire time. So that makes so much more sense if they've been working together for weeks and weeks and weeks. Fair enough. David, do you have any thoughts on that?
Not really. I think you two have fucking pretty much said everything I was going to. So I'll let you two talk and continue.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll talk about, obviously, Dodds is our caretaker manager. He's going to be taking charge of the Bristol City game tomorrow. But there's heavy rumours. There's an agreement from some journalists that's been announced, but nothing's been officially announced by the club as of yet. So the poll for this podcast is: Beale coming to Sunderland has you feeling livid, meh, or happy? For me, I'm meh, but the vast majority of people are livid with that appointment. And the reason I'm more meh than livid is because he has a good win percentage. Yes, he managed QPR for a bit with a 42 win percent and Rangers with a win percent, but is that because the clubs at the time had just that much invested in them, or was he actually a good coach for them? He ended both of those careers with disappointing spells, but they weren't long enough to really judge if he was a good coach or good manager for those teams. So I'm like, I think let the man prove himself. If he's in charge of Sunderland the amount of time he's in charge of Rangers or QPR, he'll be gone by the end of the season anyway. So like, I've got nothing to be that concerned about. And Elliot, thank you for chipping in there, by the way. With no official announcement of Beale, do you think Krill could decide against him based on the fans' opinions? I think there's a possibility of it. I think if we're going to make an announcement, it's going to be at the point of result for tomorrow. So if we lose, it's like, oh, well, with Dodds taking his third game in charge and failing to win, we've decided to go ahead. But they've got those two options, right? They can either go with Dodds and continue on with him, or they can go with their person who's been successful in interviews, supposedly. So, yeah, I think just keep an eye on whatever Sunderland's posting out on their news part of the website or Twitter or Facebook, or wherever you get the Sunderland news direct from them. Because they post the statement in the exact same place every single time. So I think bear that in mind. I don't really think it will impact us this weekend. I don't think it'll impact us until the January transfer window place is completely underway. If we're appointing somebody and then saying, well, if he comes from Rangers and he wants a Rangers player, will we get one Rangers player, like a Rangers striker? There's an option to think about. Ben, welcome along. Paul, I know you've briefly mentioned it. So before you rant into it, I want to just quickly get David's perception of Michael Beale.
I know nothing.
How do you know nothing about Michael Beale? Are you not a Liverpool fan?
Yes.
He was your head coach at Liverpool's under-21s for a long time. Like a very long time. The under-21s. He's managed Trent, mate. He's managed Trent, and how do you not know this? So you haven't got an opinion based on him yet?
No.
Fair enough. Right. Paul, go into your rant, mate. Go for it.
To be honest with me, I think he might be okay.
Oh,
I,
this
I,
is. I'm shocked. I'm shook.
I, thing is, though, answer with me, though. In a way, I'm pleased Dodds and Proctor's actually staying.
Okay. Oh, they're not getting kicked out.
No, I think the way it is, fair enough, Michael Bill might bring somebody in with him, but Dodds and Proctor will be there to help him.
Got yeah. So it's not like I think there was mention of Will Still last week, and obviously that hasn't materialised. But with Will Still and a couple of other candidates, they would have brought their coaching staff in, which would have meant Dodds leaving. So if Beale comes in, if it is Mr. Michael, then we will be all right with keeping Dodds in the background, because obviously the club and the players have that confidence that Dodds knows what he's doing, so he will have the arguments and fights and discussions, or healthy discussions, with the new gaffer of how we currently operate and what works best for our players. So he already knows that in and out, right? If you lose that, you start afresh, and every time you start afresh, you can massively throw everything you've done in the past in the bin. So we've got that.
It is what I like about it as well. I know it hasn't been announced that he's head coach yet, but he is in advanced talks with us according to Keith Downey.
And he's usually reliable as well, isn't he?
Yeah, and Michael Bill is expected to be at Bristol City tomorrow. He is actually going to be watching from the stand with Carrillo Dreyfus tomorrow afternoon.
Okay. I mean, I think just it's a case of watch this space of who we appoint. If they're looking at our content creation side of it, the Twitter messages, all of that, fans' response to this man's name, and it's all just like, what you doing? They've got to put out a statement as to why they believe he would be the best fit over the other candidates. So, I mean, that's a hard start for a manager. I don't think we've had managers that have come in place where they've instantly just begun, why? Nobody did with Grayson for Pete's sake. They just went, oh, I hope he does good. He didn't, but like with Beale, it just seems really negative from the off. So I think, like you said, give him a chance if he does come into place. But I mean, there's better candidates on the market right now. Just I think they've got to justify why they're doing that. Jim's popped in and says Speakman must see some useful attributes in Beale to consider him. Just don't know what they are yet. Exactly that. I think give him the chance. Yeah, that's where we're at. I think manager, watch this space. We'll keep an eye on it. Now we'll move on to the predictions for the upcoming weekend. Ben's asked, "What do you think the score will be tomorrow?" So he's asked me directly, so I'll answer that first. I think Sunderland will win under Dodds let's say a 3-1 away win. What are you guys saying?
That's
Bear in mind, he's just won against West Brom 2-1. He's won against Leeds 1-0.
Playing Bristol.
Yeah, in Bristol.
Do you know what? I think you're on a W high right now. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win.
I'd love to see 3 wins in a row. It happens twice in the same season. Premier League bound at that rate. Paul, what are you thinking, buddy?
Well, actually, I am going for a Sunderland win.
Class.
Mike Dodds did say actually that he is going to make changes tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
He didn't say what changes, but he did say he will possibly make changes.
Bishop in goal, mate. That's what it is.
Don't say that, Ant. I'm actually going to go 3-1 Sunderland tomorrow.
You're copying me. Nice. I mean, where are the goals coming from? If we're making changes, right? are the goals coming from the likes of Mayenda or Rushan or somebody who's a dedicated striker? Or are they going to be a continuation of Pritchard and Clark bursting in, like providing Bellingham or Clark bursting into the box? Do you know what I mean? Like, is it going to be the same old Sunderland scoring, or is it going to be something new and surprising?
Well, you know what Mike Dodds is like. He won't. He won't actually reveal until the lineup actually comes out.
And well, I don't think I've seen the pre-match conference from him at all yet, which I think is nice because obviously it's less than 24 hours away, and I haven't seen it pop up yet. So maybe there is one out there, but like I said, I kept saying this when Tony Mowbray did it. Why are we doing a press conference 2 days before the game? It makes very little sense to me. But I haven't heard anything from him, so maybe it is just a case of keep stum until we know what's happening. Yeah.
So what I like about it as well, he gave an update midweek that for the first time, Pembele is actually in full training actually.
I forgot he even existed, mate. It's been 21 games since we've got him in, and he still hasn't featured a minute. So,
Jay Matete is in full training now.
That's good. The more the merrier.
Alessi is a couple of weeks away.
The one I'm most interested in, Corey Evans.
Squad, but he did say that Jensen Selt picked up an injury actually after the Leeds game, but he's going to check on him.
Okay, that made me a little bit nervous there. By the way, Ben's just said Sunderland 3-0. Comfortable defensive performance again. I love to see it. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting time with squad selection and injuries and what that change actually looks like. But I think ultimately what this team and what our fan base were calling out for with Mowbray and his final days was adaptability and change in the team, reverting back to the snake man's tactics of playing against the opposition we're coming up against rather than sticking to a fixed form. So it's working. It's proved to be working, and our squad has the ability to win games against tough opponents. I don't think it's going to be a pushover against this Bristol City side, regardless of where they are in the table. They have been historically, and to be fair with their current squad strength, they're a potential bogey side that we will normally slip up against. These are the types of games I think make or break our hopes for promotion. David? Do you agree with, like, if we're pushing for promotion, the likes of Bristol City in 15th are essential wins, or is it a case where could we draw away from home against this kind of opposition?
If I'm being honest, if you're really, like, I'm just looking at the table now.
It's playoffs for Sunderland.
You're not making top 3.
No, it's that's Leeds, Ipswich, Leicester. 100%.
You're 10 points from 3rd and almost 20 points from 2nd. Like, it's not happening.
Mm-hmm. But it's playoffs that way. We want to be in that third and fourth bracket, right? Of we're comfortably in the playoffs for more than 1 week.
9th. Yeah. Any team below 9th, you need to be beating comfortably if you're gonna 1 make playoffs, 2 compete in playoffs, and 3 make it in the Premier League.
There's a little bit of a. Are we pushing for the Premier League too much and too early? Because, like, obviously a lot of these players are very young, very talented, but immature.
Mm-hmm.
Would this, if we were to be honest, as a fan base, is this a Premier League level squad? And if not, who do we need to replace to make a Premier League? Now, I think there's 3, maybe 4 players in this squad that I think are Premier League like regulars. Clark, obviously, Roberts, when he's not miserable. I don't know. I'd draw Bellingham in there as well. Ballard and Patterson. I think we've got 5 Premier League quality players in our team. The rest are on the fringe. I'd also put Ecuador towards that upper, like almost ready to be in the Premier League as well. So we haven't got a team that would thrive in the Premier League, but we have a team that might survive in it. That's where I'm getting at. So can we rely on them? That's my main point. Yep. No. Maybe.
You can rely on them in a championship, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be an issue if you do make it into the Premier League.
Yeah. Then there needs to be some acquisitions of other Premier League players. Yeah.
How much do you get for going up into the Prem?
Nothing.
You get nothing. Oh shit!
You get the Premier League money at the end of every season. So at the end of the first season, if you survive, you get to keep that money and then spend it. So you have to invest heavily to stay in the Premier League for the first year, and then it returns its investment. Which is why, if you notice that this season, it is a massive gulf, because every team that's already in the Premier League that survived is then stabilised. Nottingham Forest is a prime example. Also, with parachute payments, if you go up and then go straight back down, you only get 2 years of parachute payments instead of 3. So Leicester on 3 years of parachute. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. Like, I don't know. I think if we're being honest, playoffs is where we need to be realistically targeting. If we can push on to like second and third, that would be ideal, but like you said, 20 points between us and second? That's at least 7 games away. 7 games. That's 7 games.
So you're on 33, second's 51. So yeah, you're 2 points and it's 20 points.
Yeah, so it's 18 points away. So at least 7. If they have to lose, they have to lose all 7 games, and we have to win all 7 to leapfrog Ipswich at the moment. Now, will that happen in 7 games' time? Absolutely not. But could it happen over 20 games? Possibly. And that's where it comes to the end of it. We need to start bridging that gap and winning games like Bristol.
Only 7 games left of the championship.
No. So it would take 7 games to get the 20 points.
How many games are left?
So Jim says Premier League level, Trey Hume. I mean, he's really good on his day, but I think he's Dan Neil. Yeah.
The only thing I'd say about Hume is he's a bit inconsistent.
That's what I'm trying to get out. Like, he's really, really good when he's on fire, but
when he's on form, he's brilliant. But
I love his tackles, mate. Like, it's just unreal.
He is staying on form is his issue.
So yeah, like a lot of these players that we have, if they were firing week in, week out, absolutely, I think we'd have a decent go of it in the Premier League. But if we're looking at the likes of our backups, as in Triantis, any of our strikers, literally name all 4 of them. I don't even think Burstow's going to ever play another game for Chelsea, by the way. I know he's a Chelsea player right now, but I don't think he's ever going to play because he's struggling.
Chelsea will be lucky if they stay in the Prem next season.
I mean, I don't know enough about the Prem current squads other than the end results. It's like a half-fleeting interest. Right. Like I said, it is that. Pennywell Pundit, by the way, is chipped in. I think he might have put on the Beale being livid at it. He says, Beale can keep away from Sunderland, rather have Jacku back without his mother. Oh, man, yeah. Yeah. Well, shall we talk about the most important thing for Sunderland's likelihood of picking up a trophy this season? What would that be? What would that be?
Yeah.
Winning goes up the road.
We have to beat the Mags to get there. A couple of updates today, actually, around that. The allocation has been confirmed as 6,000 Newcastle fans allowed to go to the Stadium Light for the FA Cup tie on.
A lot more than I was expecting.
It's 7.5% of the capacity of the Stadium Light. So they're allowed up to 15% apparently. But yeah. 7.5. Fine. I mean, it's okay. It's a lot. I'd expect probably is around 4,000 to make it a safe environment for everybody going to there. There will be fights, damage, carnage. The fact that it's been agreed is very, very strange to me. I'm more than happy for the entire stadium to be packed full of football fans, but when there's that many opposition with let's say ill intent, because there will be a lot of mags with the ambition of just causing an absolute scene, is unreal. So I'm okay with that many fans of Geordies going there, as long as they're not literally ripping up seats and destroying the Black Cats bar. Yes, I'll let David chip in here, and then Paul, again, you had this chat before we went live, and I know you're not happy with it one bit. So, David, what you said, that's a lot. What did you actually expect?
Like 3,000 or less.
In the Stadium Light is a 45,000 seater, by the way, so that would be what, like 3%? No. What? I'm gonna get my calculator out. Okay, what 3,000 out of 5,000, 45,000 is. But yeah. What do you think 6,000 Geordies are going to do at the Stadium of Light?
Oh God, I set it on fire probably.
Did you see the message of who our head of security is, making the pleas and the cases?
Yeah, the Mr. Craig Davis.
Yeah, the Greg Davis lookalike policeman. Yeah. So it is apparently 3,000 would be 6.6% of the Stadium of Light, whereas the allocated 6,000 is obviously just double that, right? So it's 45500. It's 13%. So they're actually really, really close to their full allocation. I just think it's going to be carnage. They've all been seated in one side of the stadium as well, so they've took up the north side of the Stadium of Light. Yeah, I don't know, Paul. Sorry, yeah. No, you go for it, and then I know Paul's got a rant lined up.
Say, if stuff goes bad, it's gonna go bad.
It's got like, I think there might be fires and riots depending on how well each team performs. Sorry, Stadium of Light capacity. I thought it was 45,500. It is 49,000. Yeah, fair enough. Thank you, Mark. Paul.
Oh,
fire away, buddy, mate. Fire away.
I'm not actually happy with it, to be honest. Because I don't think a lot of people is, especially like you know, if you actually sit in the north end of the stadium. But what I do like, what the club and Newcastle has agreed with, is they are putting on free buses for Newcastle United supporters. But what I like about it is they won't get their tickets until they actually get on the bus.
Okay, so they can't just do it. By the way, there's the percentage on screen of their allocation of their 15 up to 15%. They've got as close as they possibly could to that. That's horrific. So that, yeah, there's a bubble. I think it's called a bubble arcade of buses to bring the 6,000 fans to the Stadium of Light from Newcastle. So if you are a Geordie that lives in Sunderland, you have to travel to Newcastle to then go on these buses to be with your lot. The area is going to be completely segregated, caged off, but I mean, there's only so much work the police can do. We'll see what it's like. I think I think it's just going to be that much of a carnage show. It'll probably remind you of like the 80s miners' riots. It's just going to be absolutely carnage. It's been 7 years. There's an absolute. I think there's a vengeance job in mind for the Geordies on Sunderland because they haven't beat us in ages. They haven't deserved to beat us in ages, but all of a sudden, in that time when we've sunk down the leagues, they've been injected with a shit ton of oil money, Saudi money, and they've bought their way to their quality. Essentially, they haven't really seen a Sunderland side that has been, I don't know. When was the last time Sunderland played Newcastle in the FA Cup? Was it 50s?
Really aren't. I'm just looking.
Go man. Thank you, Mr. Statman.
And the FA Cup, the last time we faced them was March 16th, and it was a 1-1.
Yeah,
and then before that
was the end of our 6 in a row.
It was 2015 when you beat them 3-0.
Mm-hmm. The last time, I think that's the season they got relegated.
21 shots and 0 on target. Oh no.
Like I said, I think it's a different era for both clubs now. They are definitely the odds-on favourite to go through, but it's the magic of the FA Cup. It's going to be televised. Everything that you do at this stadium will be captured and recorded for everybody in the world to see. There's no getting away from it. There's going to be security everywhere. I think there'll be people who are up for scraps. Absolutely. The head of security is a Geordie. Again, absolute clown. But yeah, I mean, it's. I just think it's going to be an embarrassment if fans start kicking off during the game. After the game, it's kind of like away from the cameras a bit, but yeah.
To be honest, I just hope there's enough police force in the city centre as well, because a friend of mine,
I'll be around.
No worries, mate.
A friend of mine actually got attacked in the city centre on Tuesday off Leeds supporters.
What, a Geordie or?
No, he was actually he's a Sunderland fan.
He got attacked in the centre of Leeds.
No, he actually got attacked in the Sunderland city centre on Tuesday off the Leeds supporters.
So yeah, I think with fan bases that big, you will get pockets of twats essentially. So you just got to be mindful of that. I mean, we are amping it up. By the way, there is how many games in between there? We've got Bristol City, Coventry City, which is it's a big game. I think Coventry will be the first team we played twice this season, by the way. You got Hull City, Rotherham United, Preston North End, and then the Mags. So we actually have 5 games between now and then, and we're talking about it already. It's going to be a big deal. I kind of rate that it's a 12:45 kickoff though, because of safety, especially that time of year. So yeah,
well, I'll be there. I'll be sending my head off.
I mean, aren't you in the end that it's been moved for the fans going into the North Stand for the Geordies?
No, because I'm in the southwest corner.
Oh, okay, it's the North End, isn't it? That's been assigned to them. It's just it's just very weird. I think we'll see how our momentum is between now and then. We've got 6 Nelson. Welcome along, Ted. We've got 5 games ahead of us. I think how we perform in these 5 games will heavily weigh upon how I'm perceiving that FA Cup tie. Right now, I think it's too early. Our players could be suspended. Our players could be injured in that time. We've just got to take it game by game. Bristol, we've got 4 games between now and the end of the calendar year. Was that 4 games in 15 days? What do you fancy on points on that at the moment? So that's Bristol City away, Coventry City, Stadium of Light, Hull City, and Rotherham both away. So 3 away games. You expect 12, obviously, but what's acceptable?
Well, it's tough.
It's
one of the away games I'm actually going to.
The Rotherham game just before New Year. Yes. I mean, you're going to Rotherham, mate, so good luck. Right.
Yeah, I need it because the last 2 games I've been 6-1 defeat under Lee Johnson. And I was there for the draw last season with Bowers as well.
Yeah. I mean, that game was, again, that gut punch of we should be beating that good opposition. But you haven't answered the question. How many points should it be?
Ooh, how many points would that take?
I think, and whilst you're milling it over, I think we can go December unbeaten. It's a very slim chance. I think we can beat Bristol City. We'll probably draw against Cov. We'll probably draw against Hull and beat Rotherham. So that's 8 points out of 12. I'd be very happy with an unbeaten December, considering how poor our November was. I think 12's the best scenario. I think 8's a really good performance. I'd accept anywhere between 6 and 8, really, in that spell. That would keep us in contention. But this league for us curveballs all over the place. So yeah, what are you saying?
I would probably score the same what you've just said, Hans, but to be honest, I can probably see a defeat.
Against who?
I can probably see it coming against Hull.
Okay. Fair enough. I mean, it is at the Hull ground on Boxing Day, so again, Boxing Day fixtures are absolutely wild. You never know how much a player's just gone out on the razzmatazz the night before. They all have to have Christmas, mate. They'll have to have the holiday, but yeah. Sorry, Jim's popped in the chat with say, I know a lot of Mag fans who've missed Derby Day for the atmosphere. Respect to it, but 6 in a row, obsessive are desperate for any win. Otherwise, they'll go into a complete meltdown. Good thing, read the buses though. There's no booze on them. Okay, so that might temper it down as well for safety. That's good. Yeah, I think we've about done everything we can before this game against Bristol City. So we'll wrap it up here, mate. Is there anything you want to add in before I press the end stream button?
Not that I can think of, really.
No worries then. Awesome. Well, I'll catch everybody along for the watch along against Bristol City tomorrow, 15 minutes before kickoff. See you here. Catch you soon. Bye.
Away, lads.
The lads. Oh, David's not back. Bye.